Welcome to the most exciting coin discovery of your life. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and ultra-rare bicentennial coins, an ordinary-looking coin with the power to make you a millionaire overnight. If you've got this hidden gem in your pocket, your entire future could change in an instant. Let's unlock the secrets behind this legendary piece of treasure. First up, the story of the 1977 Roosevelt Dime begins during a fascinating period in American history. 1977, the United States was experiencing a time of transition as President Jimmy Carter entered his first year in office. The nation continued recovering from the economic challenges of the 1970s, and Americans witnessed rapid technological and cultural changes. While major headlines focused on politics, energy concerns, and the emerging computer age, millions of Roosevelt dimes quietly flowed through banks, cash registers, and pocket change across the country. Most people viewed these 10-cent coins as ordinary money, yet decades later collectors would discover that certain 1977 Roosevelt dimes possessed characteristics capable of transforming a common circulation coin into a highly desirable collectible. The journey from everyday pocket change to sought-after numismatic treasure is what makes the 1977 Roosevelt dime such a fascinating subject for collectors and historians alike. The Roosevelt dime series itself carries a rich historical legacy. Introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin was designed by renowned sculptor John R. Sinek. Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, along with his support of the March of Dimes campaign against polio, made him a natural choice for the denomination. Sinek's design features a dignified left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, while the reverse displays a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. By 1977, the Roosevelt dime had already become one of the most recognizable coins in American commerce, and its familiar appearance often caused collectors to overlook potentially valuable examples hiding in plain sight. When discussing the 1977 Roosevelt dime, mintage numbers provide an important starting point, but not the entire story. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of dimes during the year, while additional examples emerged from other mint facilities. Such enormous production figures might suggest that every 1977 dime should remain common forever. However, experienced numismatists understand that rarity is determined not simply by how many coins were struck, but by how many survive today in desirable condition. Most 1977 dimes entered circulation immediately, accumulating wear, scratches, discoloration, and damage through decades of use. As a result, truly exceptional examples with strong strikes, original surfaces, and minimal handling are significantly scarcer than the mintage statistics alone would imply. Survival rates create a dramatic separation between ordinary and premium quality specimens. While millions of circulated 1977 dimes still exist, far fewer remain in pristine mint state condition. Collectors carefully examine strike sharpness, especially in Roosevelt's hair details, ear definition, and the reverse torch bands. During high-volume production years, dies often wore quickly, resulting in softer strikes on many coins. Consequently, examples displaying fully struck details command stronger interest from advanced collectors. Registry set participants, who compete to assemble the highest-graded collections certified by professional grading services, aggressively pursue these superior pieces. This competition creates substantial premiums for coins that rank among the finest known survivors. The world of varieties and mint eras adds another layer of excitement to the 1977 Roosevelt dime. Although the date is not famous for a major variety comparable to some classic double dies, specialists continuously study examples for hub doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, clip planchets, broad strikes, and other manufacturing anomalies. A dramatic off-center strike may occur when a blank planchet is improperly positioned between the dies during striking. Die cracks develop as production dies endure enormous pressure over extended use. Double dies originate during the die creation process when design elements are impressed onto the die more than once with slight misalignment. These varieties demonstrate that even coins from high mintage years can become surprisingly scarce when unusual production characteristics are involved. Understanding how minting errors occur helps explain why collectors pay significant premiums for certain pieces. During die preparation, any slight misalignment between hub impressions can create doubled design elements. As dies age, stress fractures may appear, leading to visible cracks on struck coins. In earlier eras, repunched mint marks occurred when mint marks were applied by hand, though by 1977, modern production methods had largely eliminated that particular variety. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other dramatic errors generally result from mechanical mishaps during the striking process. Because quality control removes most defective coins before release, the few that escape into circulation become highly collectible. A circulated 1977 dime with a dramatic and authenticated mint error can be worth substantially more than a normal uncirculated example. Condition remains one of the most critical factors influencing value. The example described as scratched and toned presents an interesting case. Natural tunning develops gradually through long-term environmental exposure and often produces attractive colors ranging from gold and amber to blue and violet. Many collectors appreciate original tunning because it demonstrates that a coin has not been aggressively cleaned. Scratches, however, generally reduce desirability because they represent post-mint damage rather than original mint characteristics. Professional grading services carefully evaluate originality, surface preservation, luster, strike quality, and eye appeal before assigning a grade. Coins that have been cleaned, polished, or altered frequently receive lower market acceptance compared to examples retaining untouched surfaces and natural agging. Market values for a 1977 Roosevelt dime vary widely depending on condition and special characteristics. A heavily circulated example with noticeable scratches typically trades for only a modest premium above face value. Fine and very fine examples generally remain affordable collector pieces, while about uncirculated specimens can attract stronger interest. Certified mint state coins with exceptional strike quality and attractive original surfaces may command significantly higher prices. Error coins and recognized varieties often occupy a separate value category altogether, with dramatic examples selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and visual appeal. The highest graded registry quality specimens have achieved impressive auction results because elite collectors compete intensely for population-leading examples that may represent the finest known condition census pieces. Ultimately, the 1977 Roosevelt dime proves that extraordinary stories can emerge from seemingly ordinary coins. Although most examples remain common circulation pieces, a select few stand apart because of exceptional preservation, rare minting errors, remarkable tunning, or elite certified grades. Registry set competition, collector demand, and the ongoing search for overlooked varieties continue to fuel interest in this issue decades after it was minted. Whether discovered in an old coin album, inherited collection, or forgotten jar of pocket change, the right 1977 Roosevelt dime can capture the imagination of collectors around the world. It serves as a powerful reminder that even a small 10-cent coin, often passed from hand to hand without a second glance, can become a valuable and historically significant collectible when rarity, condition, and collector demand align in extraordinary ways. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1977 Roosevelt dime is the possibility that valuable examples may still be hiding in collections assembled decades ago. During the late 1970s, relatively few people set aside modern dimes because they were viewed as common coins with little immediate collectible value. As a result, many high-grade examples spent years in circulation before collectors began paying closer attention to condition rarity. Today, specialists carefully examine old mint sets, bankrupt rolls, and estate collections in search of sharply struck pieces displaying exceptional luster and original surfaces. Occasionally, a coin that appeared ordinary at first glance reveals subtle characteristics such as superior strike quality, attractive rainbow tunning, or a previously overlooked mint error. These discoveries continue to generate excitement within the numismatic community because they demonstrate that important finds are still possible even within a widely produced modern issue. For collectors and viewers watching this story unfold, The 1977 Roosevelt Dime offers an important lesson about coin collecting itself. True value is rarely determined by age alone. Instead, it emerges from a combination of rarity, preservation, eye appeal, demand, and historical significance. A scratched and toned example may not rank among the finest known specimens, but it still represents a tangible artifact from a unique period in American history. Every mark on its surface tells a story of circulation, commerce, and survival through nearly half a century of use. While only a small percentage of 1977 dimes achieve notable auction results, the ongoing search for exceptional examples keeps collectors engaged year after year. That enduring sense of discovery is what makes numismatics so captivating, proving that even a humble Roosevelt dime can hold mysteries, history, and potential value far beyond its original 10-cent denomination. Second, the story of the 1966 Roosevelt dime begins during one of the most transformative years in modern American history. The United States was deeply involved in the Vietnam War, the space race was accelerating toward the moon, and social change was reshaping nearly every aspect of American life. At the same time, a quieter revolution was taking place inside the nation's coinage system. Just 1 year earlier, in 1965, the United States removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters due to rising bullion prices and widespread coin hoarding. As a result, the 1966 Roosevelt dime became one of the earliest examples of the new copper-nickel-clad composition. While millions of Americans spent these dimes without a second thought, collectors today recognize that 1966 represents a critical transition period in United States numismatic history, making certain examples highly desirable and surprisingly valuable. The Roosevelt dime series itself carries tremendous historical significance. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin commemorated a leader whose influence shaped 20th century America. Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes campaign and his personal battle with polio made the dime denomination especially meaningful. The coin was designed by chief engraver John R. Sinnock, whose portrait of Roosevelt remains one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. The obverse features Roosevelt facing left, while the reverse displays a central torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. By 1966, this design had already become familiar to an entire generation of Americans, yet hidden within some examples were characteristics that would later capture the attention of advanced collectors and auction specialists. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1966 Roosevelt dime is its enormous mintage. More than 900 million examples were struck for circulation, a figure that initially suggests the coin should be extremely common forever. However, experienced numismatists understand that mintage figures tell only part of the story. High production often means dies were used heavily, quality control standards were stretched, and many coins entered circulation immediately. Over decades of use, countless examples became worn, scratched, damaged, cleaned, or lost entirely. Therefore, while millions survive, the number of truly exceptional examples with sharp strikes, original surfaces, and strong eye appeal is dramatically smaller. In modern coin collecting, rarity is often measured not by how many coins were produced, but by how few remain in elite condition. When specialists evaluate a 1966 Roosevelt dime, strike quality becomes a major factor. The transition away from silver coinage created immense demand for circulating coins, and mint facilities worked at a rapid pace to satisfy commerce. As a result, many 1966 dimes exhibit weak details, particularly in Roosevelt's hair, ear, and jawline. On the reverse, the bands of the torch often lack complete definition. Collectors actively seek examples displaying unusually sharp strikes because they stand apart from the average production quality of the year. Coins with strong luster, full design details, and minimal contact marks attract considerable attention, especially when certified by major grading services. This combination of condition, rarity, and collector demand creates a market where the finest known specimens can command prices far beyond what most people expect from a 10-cent coin. The world of mint eras and varieties introduces another layer of excitement to the 1966 dime. Although the date is not known for a major variety on the scale of some famous double die cents, specialists have identified examples featuring doubled dies, die cracks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and dramatic strike-through errors. These varieties occurred during the manufacturing process and escaped mint quality control. Off-center examples are particularly popular because the error is immediately visible even to non-collectors. A dramatic off-center strike showing a complete date can transform an otherwise common dime into a highly collectible numismatic item. Similarly, significant double die varieties displaying visible design duplication often generate strong interest among era collectors. To truly appreciate these errors, it helps to understand how they occur. During die creation, a working hub impresses the coin design onto a die under tremendous pressure. If the hub and die shift slightly between impressions, a double die variety may result. Die cracks form after prolonged use as steel dies endure repeated stress from striking hundreds of thousands of coins. Off-center strikes occur when a blank planchet fails to align properly between the dies before striking. Clipped planchets originate earlier in production when the metal strip used to create blanks is improperly punched. Each era tells a unique story about the manufacturing process, turning a routine coin into a tangible piece of mint history. Because most defective pieces were removed before entering circulation, surviving examples often command significant premiums. The condition of a scratched and toned 1966 Roosevelt dime creates an interesting collecting discussion. Scratches generally reduce value because they represent post-mint damage that affects eye appeal. Tunning, however, can be a completely different matter. Natural tunning develops slowly through decades of exposure to environmental conditions and often produces attractive shades of gold, blue, violet, amber, or rose. Collectors frequently prefer original tunning because it demonstrates that a coin has not been harshly cleaned or artificially altered. The challenge lies in distinguishing natural tunning from chemical enhancement or improper cleaning. Professional grading services play a crucial role here, evaluating authenticity, originality, strike quality, and surface preservation. Their certification provides confidence to buyers and often has a significant impact on market value. In today's collector market, values for a 1966 Roosevelt dime vary considerably depending on grade and special characteristics. Circulated examples in fine or very fine condition generally carry modest premiums, while about uncirculated pieces attract stronger collector interest. Typical scratched specimens usually remain affordable unless they possess a notable variety or error. Certified mint state examples with exceptional preservation can sell for substantially higher amounts, particularly in grades approaching the top of the population census. Major mint errors such as dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, or significant double dies can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and visual appeal. Some of the finest registry-quality examples have achieved impressive auction results because collectors competing for top-ranked sets are willing to pay substantial premiums for coins with the highest certified grades. Registry set competition has become one of the most powerful forces in modern numismatics. Collectors assemble complete Roosevelt dime sets and register them through professional grading services, earning rankings based on grade quality and completeness. Because only a handful of 1966 dimes survive in the very highest grades, competition for these elite specimens can become intense. This phenomenon explains why a coin that appears nearly identical to another may sell for dramatically more at auction. The difference often lies in microscopic details of preservation, luster, strike quality, and certification. In the end, the 1966 Roosevelt dime proves that even a coin minted by the hundreds of millions can contain extraordinary stories of rarity, survival, and collector passion. Whether it is a beautifully toned example, a dramatic mint error, or one of the finest known certified specimens, this humble 10-cent piece demonstrates how history, condition, and scarcity can combine to transform an everyday coin into a remarkable collectible treasure. What makes the 1966 Roosevelt dime especially intriguing is that valuable discoveries continue to emerge decades after the coin entered circulation. Many collectors focus their attention on older silver issues, leaving Cladera coins overlooked in albums, coin jars, and inherited collections. Yet some of the most exciting finds have come from careful examination of seemingly ordinary 1966 dimes. A coin with exceptional original luster, vibrant natural tunning, or an overlooked mint era can suddenly attract intense interest from specialists. There have been instances where coins once considered common were later recognized as condition rarities after professional grading revealed them to be among the finest surviving examples. This ongoing possibility of discovery keeps the 1966 Roosevelt Dime relevant in the collecting world and reminds enthusiasts that rarity can sometimes hide in the most unexpected places. As the story of the 1966 Roosevelt Dime comes to a close, it leaves collectors with an important lesson about numismatics and history. Every coin is a small artifact that has traveled through countless hands, witnessed changing eras, and survived decades of economic and social transformation. A scratched and toned 1966 dime may appear ordinary at first glance, yet it represents the beginning of a new chapter in American coinage following the removal of silver from circulation. Under extraordinary circumstances, whether through a rare era, remarkable preservation, beautiful natural tunning, or elite registry-grade certification, that simple 10-cent piece can become a highly sought-after collectible. Its journey from everyday pocket change to a respected numismatic item demonstrates why coin collecting continues to captivate people around the world, proving that sometimes the most fascinating treasures are hiding in the smallest and most familiar objects. Third, the year 1976 occupies a special place in American history, and so does the Roosevelt Dime struck during that remarkable year. As the United States celebrated its bicentennial, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, patriotic pride swept across the nation. Fireworks illuminated city skylines, commemorative events attracted millions, and special bicentennial coinage captured the public's imagination. Yet while quarters, half dollars, and dollars received special bicentennial designs, the Roosevelt Dime continued with its familiar appearance, quietly circulating through the economy. Most Americans never imagined that some 1976 dimes would eventually become highly collectible pieces sought after by specialists. Today, the 1976 Roosevelt Dime represents not only a circulating coin from a historic year, but also a fascinating study in rarity, preservation, and collector demand. The Roosevelt Dime series traces its origins to 1946, when the United States Mint honored President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death the previous year. Designed by chief engraver John R. Sinek, the coin quickly became one of the most recognizable pieces in American commerce. Roosevelt's association with the March of Dimes campaign made the denomination particularly meaningful, and the design has remained largely unchanged for decades. On the obverse, Roosevelt's profile projects dignity and strength, while the reverse displays a torch symbolizing liberty, accompanied by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. By 1976, this design had become a familiar part of daily life, yet hidden among millions of ordinary examples were a handful of coins that would later achieve remarkable collector status. One of the first things collectors examine when evaluating a 1976 Roosevelt dime is its mintage. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced hundreds of millions of examples, while additional quantities were struck at other facilities. At first glance, these numbers appear to eliminate any possibility of rarity. However, seasoned numismatists know that rarity is not determined solely by production totals. The true question is how many high-quality examples survive today. Most 1976 dimes entered circulation immediately and spent decades being exchanged, stored in cash registers, and carried in pockets. Over time, scratches, wear, environmental exposure, and mishandling reduced the number of attractive survivors. Consequently, pristine examples with sharp details and original surfaces are far scarcer than the enormous mintage figures might suggest. Survival rates tell a story that mintage numbers cannot. While millions of circulated 1976 dimes remain available, only a small percentage survive in premium mint state grades. During the mid-1970s, the mint focused heavily on quantity to satisfy commercial demand, which often resulted in coins displaying average or below-average strike quality. Many examples show weak details in Roosevelt's hair and facial features, while the torch bands on the reverse may appear less defined than collectors prefer. As a result, sharply struck examples stand out dramatically. Registry set competitors, who strive to assemble the finest certified collections possible, aggressively pursue these elite specimens. Their competition often creates substantial price increases for coins graded at the highest levels by professional certification services. The excitement surrounding the 1976 Roosevelt Dime grows even stronger when mint eras and varieties enter the discussion. Although the year is not known for a major headline variety comparable to some famous Lincoln cent double dies, collectors have discovered numerous examples featuring die cracks, strike-through errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and subtle double die characteristics. These unusual pieces are prized because they escaped mint inspection and entered circulation despite obvious manufacturing abnormalities. Some circulated era dimes that originally passed through countless hands unnoticed have later become highly valuable collectibles once authenticated by experts. Their rarity and visual appeal often make them more desirable than ordinary uncirculated examples. Understanding how these mint errors occur reveals why collectors find them so fascinating. Double dies originate during die creation when multiple impressions fail to align perfectly. Die cracks develop after prolonged use as steel dies endure tremendous striking pressure. Off-center strikes occur when a planchet is not correctly positioned during the striking process, resulting in a design that appears shifted from the center. Clipped planchets originate before striking, when blanks are improperly cut from metal strips. Each era provides a glimpse into the complex industrial process behind coin production. Since quality control procedures remove most defective coins before release, surviving examples often become legitimate numismatic rarities regardless of the year's otherwise common status. For a 1976 Roosevelt dime described as scratched and toned, condition becomes a critical factor in determining collector appeal. Scratches generally reduce value because they represent post-mint damage that affects the coin's visual quality. Tunning, however, can tell a very different story. Natural tunning develops gradually over decades and may produce beautiful shades of gold, amber, violet, blue, and rose. Many collectors actively seek naturally toned coins because they often indicate originality and long-term preservation. Artificial tunning or harsh cleaning, on the other hand, can significantly reduce desirability. Professional grading services carefully evaluate these characteristics, helping collectors distinguish between original surfaces and altered coins while establishing market confidence. Market values for the 1976 Roosevelt dime vary considerably depending on condition and special features. Circulated examples with noticeable scratches typically trade for modest premiums over face value. Fine and very fine examples remain affordable for most collectors, while about uncirculated specimens command somewhat stronger interest. Certified mint state examples can range from relatively inexpensive to surprisingly valuable, depending on grade and eye appeal. Coins with dramatic mint errors or significant varieties often occupy an entirely different market category, sometimes selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The most expensive auction appearances usually involve exceptionally preserved coins, dramatic errors, or population-leading specimens that attract fierce competition from registry collectors seeking the finest known example. Ultimately, the 1976 Roosevelt dime demonstrates how an ordinary 10-cent coin can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Born during America's bicentennial celebration, produced in enormous numbers, and largely ignored by the public for decades, this coin continues to surprise collectors with its hidden potential. Exceptional preservation, beautiful natural tunning, rare mint errors, and elite certification grades can elevate certain examples far beyond their humble origins. Registry set competition further amplifies demand by rewarding collectors who acquire the highest quality specimens available. In the end, the 1976 Roosevelt Dime serves as a reminder that numismatic treasures are not always ancient or obviously rare. Sometimes the most fascinating stories emerge from the coins that millions of people once considered completely ordinary, proving that even a simple 10-cent piece can become a valuable collectible when rarity, condition, history, and collector passion intersect. Another factor that adds intrigue to the 1976 Roosevelt Dime is the ongoing search for undiscovered condition rarities hidden in old collections. During the bicentennial era, many Americans saved special quarters and half dollars because of their commemorative reverse designs, but comparatively few people set aside ordinary Roosevelt dimes. As a result, countless 1976 dimes circulated heavily before collectors began paying closer attention to high-grade examples. Today, numismatists routinely examine original bank rolls, estate collections, and long-forgotten coin albums, hoping to uncover a sharply struck specimen with exceptional luster and untouched surfaces. Occasionally, a coin that appears common at first glance proves to be an elite survivor after professional grading, especially if it combines strong strike quality with attractive natural tunning. These discoveries help explain why collector interest in the 1976 issue continues decades after it first entered circulation. The lasting appeal of the 1976 Roosevelt Dime ultimately comes from the combination of history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Every surviving coin represents a small piece of America's bicentennial year, a time when the nation reflected on 2 centuries of independence and achievement. Even a scratched and toned example carries evidence of its long journey through commerce and everyday life. While most 1976 dimes remain modestly valued collectibles, a select few achieve remarkable status because of extraordinary preservation, dramatic mint errors, or elite registry-grade certification. Those exceptional pieces remind collectors that value is often created by scarcity and demand rather than age alone. The story of the 1976 Roosevelt Dime proves that a simple 10-cent coin can evolve from ordinary pocket change into a prized numismatic treasure, capturing the imagination of collectors and preserving a tangible connection to one of the most celebrated years in American history.